Good evening, I'm Dan Rather, and tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
Well, President Trump announcing two new luxury visa programs, a gold card and a platinum card. The gold card will cost $1 million for individuals and $2 million for companies. It will allow foreign nationals to get U.S. residency, quote, in record time. And the $2 million corporate card is transferable from one employee to another. Now, the platinum card is going to cost $5 million and will allow foreign nationals to spend 270 days in the U.S. without paying taxes on their overseas income. Now, currently, of course, we all know that U.S. citizens and residents have to pay taxes on their U.S. and their foreign income. Foreigners who are here for more than 183 days during a 3-year period that uses a special IRS formula. They, too, are currently subject to tax on overseas income. The Platinum Card, however, will extend that time period to about 9 months. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick saying that the new $100,000 H-1B fee, gold card, platinum card, all expected to generate $100 billion in revenue. That's going to be used to lower taxes and pay down debt. Now, the gold card will replace the EB-1 and EB-2 programs. We have yet to hear, initially they said this would replace the EB-5 program, which is very popular and costs $1 million and requires you to create at least 10 jobs. But if people can pay the same amount and not have a job requirement, which is what the gold card is, that will be a lot more attractive.
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the 𝐓𝐘𝐒? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a 𝐶um comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of 𝐶um aerolization.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration's moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing. Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's official. Former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin.
If we're not careful, AI could make it impossible to distinguish truth from fiction in the news we consume.
So, Keisha, what's a high-value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like he got...
Good evening, I'm Tom Tucker with some breaking news. A local kidnapping has rocked Quahog tonight. Rocked Quahog? Really? The whole town is... The family, maybe, is rocked, but the whole... All right, well, in any event, we now go live to Asian reporter Tricia Takanawa. Let's see how much she's rocked by all this. Tricia?
Tom, I'm standing here with Mayor Adam West with the latest information about the disappearance of young Scotty Jennings. What can you tell us, Mr. Mayor?
Please, Mr. Mayor is my father. Call me John Mayor. Your body is a wonderland, by the way.
What is the city doing to help rescue the missing boy?
Well, we're looking for this child using all the latest technology, including the newest, most advanced multimedia milk cartons.
Help me, I'm missing! Help! Why are you still eating breakfast? I'm kidnapped! Why are you turning me the other way? I'm still here!
Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
Welcome to the Black News Network. I'm your host, OG Dimebag Slime. Tonight's story, a gender reveal turns violent when local Bloods open fire on the party after blue confetti is released. Chaos erupted at the Glockton's backyard gender reveal when the cannon popped blue, indicating a baby boy. The husband's side of the family, all Bloods, immediately sprung into action by lighting that bitch up. During the scuffle, some of the confetti floated into a neighboring yard, causing additional shots to be popped off in that direction. Fortunately, no Henny was spilled during the ordeal.
One of trying to make it to work without yelling at a pedestrian. Pray for me, y'all. Still alive, still unemployed, but baby, I look G-O-D doing it. Oh my God, I'm not even late, I'm just dramatic. Y'all know I will risk it all for a good melon. We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Pennsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Pennsylvania.
This just in, a pubnadal blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses.
A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of donglode. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 𝐕𝐹 rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the big beautiful bill, with some saying 10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad.
Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress 𝐿𝐷𝐄𝐒 Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Bangher. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told 𝐿𝐷𝐄𝐒 Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and 𝐿𝐷𝐄𝐒's fried chicken confrontation.
Miss Mayonnaise is suing 𝐿𝐷𝐄𝐒 Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, 𝐬𝐷𝐄𝐒. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. The BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN. HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bangher has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
WHR, would y'all let me fly the plane to Iran? I thought B2 was my apartment number. Oh my God, did I just start the war?
Introducing ChatEBT, the newest AI software limited only to 13% of people. ChatEBT isn't just another basic AI myth. It's built for real-life situations. Let's showcase an example of a man asking for food recommendations.
I'm starving, gang. Let's open ChatEBT. What should I eat tonight?
ChatEBT is fully aligned with real-time data, giving you the most accurate, up-to-date definitions anywhere.
Define child support.
Unless you ask it to define child support. But ChatEBT isn't just about words or recommendations now. It helps with your everyday tasks and repairs, giving you the best solutions in real time. Here's an example.
Dude, this thing is so annoying, man. ChatEBT, how do I fix this?
You don't, man. Thank you all for your time today. We're excited for you to experience the future with ChatEBT. We'll see you soon.
Yo, what's up, guys? Let's do some news. Yo, salute to the chat. Load of Brooklyn in the building. The Pookie and Ray Ray show. I seen no news in Universal Black up in here too. All right, bet, man. Let's do some news. Been a crazy day. We got another another trans Tifa shooter. Start off with my guy Jesse Waters over at Fox talking about the news of the day.
Fox News alert, ICE under attack again. At the crack of dawn, a sniper fired multiple rounds at an ICE facility in Dallas. Rounds hit an ICE van. 2 illegals were hit. 1 is dead. The sniper is Joshua John. He's 29. Here's a picture from 2015. He opened fire from a nearby building. It was a miracle an ICE agent wasn't killed.
You know, I know so many of those officers and agents down there. That's where I started my career. The windows that they show is my old office. So whoever was sitting in my old chair had to, duck under the desk.
The shooter committed suicide after the attack. The FBI says there was an ideological motive to the rampage. He scrawled messages on his bullets.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
The sniper had anti-ICE carved into the shell casings. But the media says no one knows the motive. Maybe the gunman was a comedian.
You can't just assume by that what was written on that shell casing that that's necessarily his motivation. He could have been doing that to thinking it was funny, trying to put law enforcement on the wrong track.
Well, ICE says it was a clear attack on ICE, and the director of the ICE facility doesn't think it's funny.
The rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives.
Just a month ago, the same exact ICE facility got bomb threats. And another Texas ICE facility just a few months ago was fired on by Trantifa. They baited agents and launched a sophisticated attack with military precision.
Yo, did you hear that? He said Trantifa. Yo, they locked in, bro. What Brooklyn said, now explain to me how Governor Newsom's recent comments about ICE are unrelated to this incident as well. That's a fact. We actually got something on Newsom later on tonight, too.
We've seen riots outside of ICE buildings in LA, Portland, and Illinois. Just yesterday, Antifa stormed an ICE facility in Oregon with homemade weapons. Do you see a pattern? MSNBC says ICE are the ones who should tone it down.
We have seen just the rhetoric escalate. We've also seen the very dramatic videos of ICE nabbing individuals and tossing them into unmarked vehicles. A lot of these ICE agents have been masked, and so it has been very divisive. And there's been a lot of fear in the different communities where we've been reporting.
ICE has been divisive? They're doing what the country voted for. They're enforcing immigration laws that Congress wrote. That's called democracy. Attacks on ICE are up over 800%, and our politicians are egging it on.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. These Gestapo-like tactics.
It does look like a Gestapo operation. It does look like the Gestapo.
When you keep calling federal agents Nazis, crazies are going to treat them like Nazis and shoot them. Last night, Gavin Newsom gave the crazies the green light.
Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? We're being hyperbolic. If some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back.
The governor of
Bang, there you go. Yeah, you just said it, Brooklyn. Yo, Detroit, what up, Playboy? Detroit 313 in the building, man. We just doing some news. Let's go.
California's calling on the people to push back against a so-called dictator's secret police. And the next day, a gunman sprays bullets into that police facility. The governor feels no responsibility for the words that come out of his mouth. He's not saying march peacefully and patriotically against ICE.
When they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. If your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
Democrats call ICE the Gestapo, and then they get shot at. And the media says it's ICE's fault since they're divisive. They did the same thing with Charlie Kirk. They said Kirk had it coming. And the governors, who should be working with ICE to get bad hombres out of the communities, are trying to unmask them so they get doxxed and harassed.
It's like a dystopian sci-fi movie. Unmarked cars, people en masse, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights, enough. ICE, unmasked. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Last week, the governor signed a bill to force ICE agents to expose their faces to cameras and cartels. The man mandated masks to stop the spread of a virus, but wants to remove masks so we can't stop the spread of migrants. Some of these politicians deny ICE attacks are even happening. Johnny was in D.C. this summer. Watch.
Do you condemn the attacks on ICE agents?
What attacks on ICE agents?
But I also condemn ICE being masked, coming up in unmarked vehicles, terrorizing our communities, kidnapping people. I condemn that too.
Did you
I condemn both.
Did you wear a mask in 2020?
Did I wear a mask in 2020 during the pandemic? Yeah.
Isn't that the same thing?
No.
You got to protect yourself.
No, it's not the same thing.
Don't wear masks in our community. You're terrorizing women. Real men don't terrorize women.
Did you wear a mask in 2020?
Look, for health reasons, I'm not a cop. So, like, whatever cute gotcha you think you have there.
They're protecting themselves.
But look, do you know anyone who gets more threats than me? These ICE agents aren't getting more threats than me.
Jesse Waters probably gets a little more threats.
Well, Jesse Waters, not a real man.
These politicians have around-the-clock security, armed guards, drivers, a bubble around them so that people can't get close. What do these officers have? Nothing. They go home to their families in a residential neighborhood with no gates and an address in the white pages. Politicians with protection are inciting violence against officers with none. You don't think the threats are real? Tom Homan's been forced out of his home.
I have a 24/7 security detail because of threats against me. I don't live with my family because I don't want them around danger as much as I can. So, you know, it's tough, but I'm not going away. I'm not shutting up. I can continue fighting to make this country great again.
Democrats have declared war. Not my words, theirs.
We're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Think about how they're programming people. They're at war, and they have to win by any means necessary. That ICE is the president's Nazi Gestapo, and if they don't push back, democracy's dead.
I fear that we will not have an election in 2028. I really mean that. And the core of my soul, unless we wake up to the code red, what's happening in this country, and we wake up soberly to how serious this moment is.
You know what happened when Jack Nicholson ordered a code red? They beat someone to death.
Did you order the code red?
I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're right, I did.
They shot Steve Scalise. They shot Trump once, then tried to shoot him again. Burnt down the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, shot up Christian schools and ICE facilities, shot up an ABC affiliate, planted bombs under a Fox truck, and assassinated Charlie Kirk. Even they're admitting they have a problem. The Atlantic says left-wing terrorism is on the rise. That's the Atlantic. 26% of voters say Charlie getting shot on campus was understandable. Whose side do you think they're on? Charlie got killed, and hostile liberals are still harassing conservatives on campus. One guy tried debating HBCU students. He got mobbed.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. They got you coloreds all riled up, jumping on in between his trans. You see, it's a bunch of quiches. Yo, Trump signing the executive order on domestic terrorism. Y'all keep playing around. You're going to get what you're looking for.
Can't even hear you. Very black and very tired of it.
That conservative.
Look at all them quiches. I'm going to say it again. Trump signing this domestic terrorism executive order. Y'all keep jumping out in front of this shit that don't have nothing to do with you. You're going to get what you're looking for.
Needed a police escort to leave campus. Kimmel lost his job for 4 days, and they said free speech was under attack. Charlie Kirk was killed for exercising free speech, and they said he had it coming. They say we need more civil debate, and we need to be more civil. So when we try to engage in civilized debate, they chase us off campus. Now the freedom of the press is under attack. But when it's conservative press, the media is silent. Here's a reporter getting swarmed outside the UN. Watch.
Like that. Charlie Kirk.
Why would I say that? Why would I say that?
He's racist.
No, he's not.
Bang, there you go again. Yo, y'all pay attention. Yo, mark my words. We did the whole news segments like earlier this week and last week that this is some trans furry shit. Don't got nothing to do with black people. You'll see that Keisha out front with the blonde wig, and then what? You got a boy with the Palestinian joint on the back of his head. Like none of this stuff relate to FBAs, bro. I'm gonna say it again. Trump signing this executive order labeling a lot of this shit domestic terrorism, bro. Y'all can jump in front of this if you want. And I'm telling you, a lot of y'all gonna get what y'all asking for. You're talking football numbers, domestic terrorism. Y'all gonna get what y'all looking for. Little Brooklyn said, I'm looking at quite a few students who have been expelled. Over something that ain't got nothing to do with you. Yo, think it's a game. Universal Black says she got the Tina Turner wig on. Yo, y'all, like I said, a lot of y'all gonna get exactly what you're looking for.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. Well, look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
He's not black women.
Look at that. They got these Keishas and these Hoteps out here like crash test dummies. And you know BLM is a trans activist organization now, right? That's how y'all going out? Y'all crash test dummies, cuz collateral damage is a real thing.
Hey, stop it. Get off.
That looks civil. Hillary says the rhetoric has to stop, and we agree, but she says not from her, from you.
We have got to stop demonizing each other. Exactly. Yeah. Now, I think most of that right now in our country's history is coming, from the right. We have got to stop with the finger pointing and the scapegoating.
Hillary called half the country deplorables and irredeemable, despicable Neanderthals. They needed to be deprogrammed and have their First and Second Amendment stripped. What has the right said about Hillary that Bill hasn't already said? And it's not like men in MAGA hats are shooting up Planned Parenthoods and Hollywood celebrities or journalists or politicians. No one on the right is acting on the language we're using. On the left, they are. And it's starting to feel like that's the Democrats' strategy. Intimidate us into shutting our mouths. They're using bullets to bully us into political submission. It kind of feels like they know what they're doing.
Political violence has gotten out of control in this country. We got to stop it. We got to condemn it. And that starts, unfortunately, at the very top of the Democratic Party. If you want to stop political...
You heard him? It starts at the top of the Democratic Party.
violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror.
And if they're not going to look in the mirror and stop triggering their crazies to shoot us, stab us, and blow up our cars, then we're going to have to crack down. We can't sit back and not defend.
I'll be playing these for a reason. It's the subtle language. They play a different game than the left. We're going to have to. They be telling you right to your face what's coming, bro. Like I said, your quiches, your hoes. BLM is officially a trans activist organization now. And it was originally a lesbian Marxist organization. I can tell you, you seeing these Negro males talk about BLM and everything. That's a trans activist. That shit ain't, you know what I'm saying? Shit that got real weird over there on the B1 side, bro. Brooklyn said, I think many of these people are unaware that arm's length constitutes personal space. Once you breach that, a person has the right to self-defense.
Ourselves. It's open season on us. And if we're not going to save ourselves, who else are we going to save?
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.
All right, bet. Let's let me load up this Tom Homan segment. Because he's going to talk about the shooting. Borders are Tom Homan. Here we go. About the incident in Texas today with the ICE agents. Like I said, stuff's getting wild out here, bro. We said our piece. We covered it right. I'm interested. Yo, I predict a lot of quiches getting wrapped up in some nonsense messing around with the Democratic Party with this, bro. I'm telling you. Predicting a lot of quiches taking L's. They're already losing all the jobs and everything. They ain't playing.
Joining us now for more on what happened today in Texas's Borders are Tom Homan. Tom, thanks for being back with us tonight. The shell casing said anti-ICE. Why do you think this guy shot at illegal aliens?
Well, I don't think he shot at illegal aliens. The agents agents I talked to said he was shooting at the building, shooting at a van. The van had aliens inside the van. I think he meant to kill an officer, but the vans are dark. They're tinted dark. So I think he was just shooting in the van, hoping to kill an ICE officer. He may not even know there's aliens in the van, but he shot into the building. Matter of fact, some of the bullets went into where the director sits. He shot many rounds into the building. He went down the whole length of the building. Then he concentrated on the van. We saw activity. Saw officers coming in and out of the van because what they're doing is dropping off aliens and picking up. So I think he just fired in a van hoping to hit an ICE officer, but he didn't. Okay. And it's tragic.
It is. And by the grace of God, an ICE officer was not hit or killed today. Is there any question in your mind that this 29-year-old assassin was another left-wing nut radicalized by the rhetoric of the left?
No. Look, I've been saying since March. I was the first guy to say, look, if the rhetoric doesn't tap down, there's going to be bloodshed. Someone's going to die. And of course, I was called a fear monger by the left, and how dare I say that? And look, this is a third shooting at ICE, right? Third shooting in Texas. They had a shooting where someone took an assault rifle and attacked a CBP facility. It was an SRT training facility. The SWAT guys, they end up killing him. Then, about 45 minutes south of Dallas, we have an Alvarado detention facility. A group went there, armed, and shooting the facility. One of the officers actually got shot in the neck. This is a third shooting in Texas alone. And I'm saying it. The hateful rhetoric is convincing that percentage of the left that have lost their...
Yo, salute, Kwame. What up, Kwame? 𝐷𝐿 𝐘𝐒 in the building.
minds and empowers them to take action. If a U.S. senator, a U.S. congressman can call ICE terrorists and Nazis, that empowers these crazy people to take action.
Tom, I want you to listen to what a guest on MSNBC, MS Now, said today, claiming that right-wing figures are to blame for radical left shooters. Take a listen.
To see this coming from, potentially the other side of the political spectrum is a little strange because it is not something, if you are trying to, carry out some kind of message countering, more extreme right-wing stuff, I don't know why you would, use a tactic that a famous white supremacist who has been revered and copycatted over the years by other white supremacists, why you would do that.
Does that make any sense to you?
No, it makes absolutely no sense. What ICE officers are doing, they're enforcing the law. They're out there looking for criminal aliens that are a threat to the community. ICE officers are making communities safer every day across the country. And, they get up every morning, they strap a gun on their hip, and they wear a Kevlar vest to go out there and take on the worst of the worst. They don't get paid a lot of money, and they're out there putting their lives on the line every day for America. And they're enforcing the laws that Congress enacted. If people don't like what ICE is doing, then go raise hell with Congress, because they enact the laws.
What the hell? You're trying to shut up Tom Homan, huh?
Joining us now for more on what happened today in Texas is border czar Tom Homan. Tom, thanks for being back with us tonight. The shell casing said anti-ICE, high violent rhetoric to somebody's actions. I know it's a stretch, but I thought that after Charlie Kirk was taken from us 2 weeks ago today, that we'd see some coming together, left and right, like we did after 9/11. Tom, nothing has changed. I think a lot of people, the left, Tom, they try to paint you like you're a monster. You're a man. I read that you don't live with your family right now because of concerns for your own safety and the safety of your family. Is that true?
Yes. Look, they can hate me all they want. I don't care. They're not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. We're making this country safer again. I knew the hate would come at me hard. There's a hit piece on me every day, but we got a mission to do. And, my spouse lives separately just because I don't want her in the prime residence because of the threats. I mean, I live in a house with my windows, all my blinds are shut. I got 24/7 security detail. I didn't used to, but now I do because the threats have increased steadily. So, look, they're not going to shut me up. I'm not going away. I'm going to do this job. And my family understands. They know that I'm dedicated to the mission. Yeah. And look, I think I'm at less danger, to be honest with you, than men and women are out there on the streets every day. If they can do it, I can do it for sure.
Yeah. Is it at a point now where ICE agents might need something like a police escort wherever they go?
I don't think so. I don't want to give an awful lot out, but we had a meeting today about what more security features we can do. I don't want to, say it on live TV because law enforcement sensitive. We're looking to harden the facilities, looking to do things that protect the officers online. So there's a lot of things we can do. But again, these men and women are brave. They sign up for this job. And that's why they wear masks. I don't like masks, but they have to wear them because starting in April, the doxing started. And not only them, once they found out who they were, then they went after the spouses and the children. So, ICE agents are brave men and women. They're patriots. But I want people to remember this. ICE agents don't hang their heart on a hook when they come to work. They're mothers and fathers, too. They're sons and daughters, too. They're out there enforcing the law. So I hope the American people, because I do every night, I pray for the safety of the men and women, the CBP and ICE every night, that they go home to their families. And I also pray that none of the aliens we're looking for get harmed either. I want everybody to be safe. That's where it has to be.
Tom, just about 20 seconds. What is your message to Gavin Newsom, who says that ICE agents will be required by law to wear masks? Check that, to not wear masks in his state.
Good luck with that.
They're going to wear masks, aren't they?
Absolutely. We're going to continue doing what I'm doing. I believe federal law trumps state law every time.
He heard Homan. He said, good luck with that. We wearing masks. Yo, salute Irvin Reed in the building. I see you, man.
Right. So ICE agents continue doing what we're doing. So good luck with that.
Tom Homan, I'm sorry for everything you've had to go through, and today is not any different from another day. Tom Homan, thank you. And by the way, ICE recruiting is at the highest levels in more than a decade. I think that says something right there as well. Tom Homan.
All right, let's actually I want to cover this next one, and we're probably going to double down on this one on Sunday. And this is about with Jim Jordan, and this is about censorship on the internet from social media platforms, Facebook and Google in particular, and the new ruling that's out. So I know a lot of people who lost their channels over political stuff and things with the beer virus are getting their channels back.
The Biden administration pressured all these platforms to censor. They, in fact, did it. You felt it firsthand. We suspected Google was no different than Twitter and Facebook. And of course, we were right. They admitted that this was going on. They've pledged to reinstate anyone who's kicked off. This is a big win for the First Amendment today, and a big win for people's liberty.
So Jim Jordan there talking with Sean last night in a letter from Google. Here we go now. Vowing to bring back YouTube accounts that had been banned for political speech. In a letter, it admits that the Biden administration pressured Google to remove content even when it did not violate YouTube's policies. How you do that, huh? Jonathan Turley here. Professor, good morning to you. I know you've written about this when it comes to Meta. Now you get a chance to write about this when it comes to YouTube and Google. Here's what I think. I mean, my sense is when it came to a national crisis and when it came to free speech, we failed.
We most certainly did, Bill.
Yo, and like I said, we're gonna cover this on Sunday because Tito gonna have a field day with this. Yo, everybody's been saying it in the black manosphere and white manosphere proper. Channels were definitely shadow banned. Channels were definitely taken from people for political views. It's going to be wild how this plays out, and we're going to see if there's going to be any type of class action lawsuit too. Reverend Reed said, Jim Jordan is my guy. He gives these anti-patriots that work. That is a fact.
And I write about this in The Indispensable Right, that you had this coordination between the government, corporations, academia, even the media, to censor people with opposing views. And it came at a great cost, not just to free speech. But in COVID, we never had the debate that other countries had. Many of our allies did not shut down their schools, and they have not experienced the psychological and developmental problems that we have experienced. And that's because at platforms like Google and YouTube and Facebook, these scientists were barred, they were banned, they were blacklisted. You know, many of the signatories of the Great Barrington Declaration, which were scientists that raised opposing views, were at a speech of mine at the University of Chicago over a year ago. And they have been vindicated in many respects on the stuff that they wanted to get out to the public, but were prevented from doing so. But it's also important to remember that, you know, I testified repeatedly in Congress, and before the release of the Twitter files, Democratic members really mocked us and said, oh, you've no evidence of coordination. This is all speculation. It wasn't at that time. But the Twitter files and later the Facebook files showed that coordination. And this is a vindication for those scientists and many others who have been in this fight against Congress to try to get this information out, to show the public how extensive the censorship was.
I mean, big tech, free speech, censorship, government control, it's all right there for a guy like you. Here's what the letter said, okay? The administration's officials, including President Biden, created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. So let's go back to January. Mark Zuckerberg with Joe Rogan, all right, talking about Meta, talking about this exact same issue.
Basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. It just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous.
So I sensed some pushback there, but I don't know where this all landed, because it seems to me that Silicon Valley was listening to the government in charge at that time.
Well, it was. There was extensive censorship, not just on COVID issues, but other issues. Even jokes were being censored at the demand of the Biden administration officials. And this is part of censorship. It creates an insatiable desire and appetite. And these companies found themselves overwhelmed. It snowballed. And so soon Meta was just censoring a huge amount of people. Elon Musk deserves a great deal of credit here. When he bought Twitter, it was interesting. Figures like Hillary Clinton went to Europe and said, use the Digital Services Act, this infamous EU legislative initiative, to censor Americans. And, you know, Musk has been out there alone in this fight. Then Meta joined and has replicated what Musk did at X. And now we have Google. And this is a huge development for the free speech community. We need these companies, particularly in fending off the EU, which is being very aggressive in this anti-free speech campaign.
Yeah, great point there. Jonathan, thanks for coming on. Nice to see you again and spelling it out for us. Thank you, sir. Jonathan.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And
All right, but let's do, let me see. I got Victor. What's this? Let's look at these poll numbers. Let's look at these Democratic poll numbers. I'm actually going to use a piece from Tim Black TV. Tim Black's I think actually Tim Black actually does qualify as an independent, because he doesn't mess with the Democrats, but he's actually very critical of aspects of the Trump administration, many things of which I think are fairly unfounded, but to his credit, like I said, I think he is more indicative of an actual independent voter, swing voter, as it were. Let me see, add this to the stage. Let's go.
Democrats, and this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime? A big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Look at that, lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this: at this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues: the economy, immigration, and crime.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last.
Yo, what up, Saul? What up, Playboy?
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious. And on crime, the Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22, the lead again expanding by nearly double digits. So whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
What's the reason that you are finding so far that's driving this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the center of the electorate, right? You win with independents, you win overall. And what do we see right here among independents? Republicans still have a point lead on the economy. They got a 10-point lead on immigration. They got a 21-point lead on crime. The bottom line is, when you look at these numbers, Democrats should call their offices, because at this particular point, even if Republicans, or even if the public doesn't like what Donald Trump is doing, they ain't necessarily liking what Democrats are doing. And it ain't just a referendum on one party. You actually have to go out and beat that party. At this particular point, Democrats are not able to beat Republicans. They still
And again, this isn't as Donald Trump came into office. These are numbers from this month.
These are numbers from September of 2025. We still find that the Republicans leading on all three of these issues. And of course, this economy will be the key. If Democrats are going to win, they're going to have to likely win on the economy. At this particular point among independents, you see that 1-point lead for Republicans. And overall, at least according to the Washington Post, they hold a 7-point lead on the economy overall as well.
Next. What these numbers show me is that even with Jimmy Kimmel being employed on Jimmy Kimmel Live, it didn't change the fact that most people, most Americans are not excited about the Democratic policies. And with all the negative attention that they give Donald Trump, still calling him Hitler, it hasn't moved the needle. The economy, immigration, and at the time, like, I swear, I didn't think, I thought it was just immigration and economy. I wasn't even thinking about crime when Trump got into office. This has been a layup for him. Now we know why he's really doing all these things. So some people think, they think, okay, he's doing it because he hates black people. That's just like the go-to thing people do. People, sometimes people take a step back and say, regardless of how anybody feels about anybody, people are trying to win out here. And this is what's winning with the people. There are people that dislike the National Guard going into cities, but until they do something really foul that hits the radar and is a blowback, people are like, hey, what happened? What was so bad about it? What did it do wrong? How did it hurt people? What did it do? And I'm still waiting, and my mailbox is open. I'm waiting for all the stories to push into my mailbox, showing how people were so adversely impacted negatively, how their lives were hurt by the federal troops, or by DEA or FBI or whatever, DHS, going into communities. And think about it, how much they were covering it in a negative way. Anything Trump does, he only got a couple of networks to get the message out. But for some reason, it's working. Because the Democrats put their spin on things, and MAGA puts their spin on it. But think about it. Are there enough touch points for the Republicans to really turn it? At the end of the day, people need to just accept a lot of the policies that Trump has been implementing, whether you like them or whether I like them, no matter, it doesn't matter. Most of America likes them. Those numbers show it. And I know when the numbers don't say what you want them to say, we always say, screw the numbers, the polls don't mean that.
That's why we do by the numbers here every week, man. That's why we do by the numbers. So we could separate noise from signal, man.
Yeah, until they start saying what you want, then it's like, yeah, look at that poll, Timmy. Did you see that poll? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. Because, like I said, man, I've been talking to a lot of people, more than the average person, have a show. And I have not been getting a lot of mail about Trump falling down on the job. They don't like Trump's jokes. They don't like the way he frames some stuff. That's always going to be. There's people that are going to never like Trump. But at the end of the day, those policies, they working. They're working for most of America. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I see that, Irvin Reed. You might be on to something. Said, I think Tim is more of a hurt Democrat than a centrist. You might be on to something there. His critiques of the Democratic Party leading up post-election, everything have been pretty solid. But then I didn't see him say some crazy shit about MAGA also too. But he gets it right more often than not. But you might be on to something like that. I think a lot of these guys now claiming independence. You know my theory, like independence the new black now, or independence the new Democrat. You're going to be seeing a lot of people, black men in particular, talking about, well, they're independents, but they're still going to vote Democrat. They just don't want to get brushed with that label Democrat anymore, because the Democratic male is synonymous with being backdooria. Let's just keep it a buck. either old ninja or backdoor you. And now trans furry activists.
And even if they're not perfect, even if they don't like them, like, yay, Trump, they like them more, right, than they like the alternative. And that's the thing, Vam. This is not, you're not going up against, what's the word for it? You're not going up against the perfection. You're going up against your challenger. You're not going up against perfection. You're not going up against the greatest politician who ever walked the earth. You're not fighting against, Tyson in his prime. You're fighting that guy across from you with the bad, with the bad hip. With the bad hip and the halitosis and his shoes too tight. That's the guy you gotta beat. Okay? And maybe you can beat that guy. And that's all you gotta do tonight. Tonight, that's all you gotta do. That's the real talk. So, yeah, these polls do not look good for the midterms. And everybody was saying, wait till the midterms. Yeah, okay. We'll see what's happening. So when I'm reporting on Trump, you say, you're being too soft on Trump. Hey, I'm definitely not soft on Trump. But your fellow Americans are when comparing them to the Democratic Party. Just face it, man. The Democratic brand is kind of garbage. And that's compared to...
And that has been my premise for quite some time. The Democratic brand is trash, bro.
Trump. There it is. There it is. There it is. Who's leading the Democrats? An unknown guy out of New York, named Donnie. That's the guy who appears to be the leader of the Democratic Party right now. That's it. Who else you got? How can you be winning? How can you? They should be lucky the numbers aren't vastly bigger differences. They should be glad they're not down by 50 points. I mean, that's the guy. People don't even know how to say his name. That's the guy? Really? That's all you got? Who's there? Who? Rashida Tlaib? Who? Who's the guy? Hakeem Jeffries? Come on, tell me who's the opposite.
Let's be nice. Yeah. Let's be nice.
Gavin
we
Newsom.
Don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
The guy. When Gavin Newsom was just chilling with Charlie Kirk and they look like best of friends. Now people have to discredit Charlie Kirk in death. Bad position to be in if you're a Democrat. Yeah, people are saying Gavin Newsom's up next. This guy was just hanging out with Charlie, and they look like they had a great time. All right, I'm going to leave it there, fam. Let's keep it moving.
The Jim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.
All right, bet. Let's run this next segment.
Ugh, I miss 2025. Remember life before extraterrestrials took over? It was so primitive.
I love everything about you. Because I'm programmed to be your perfect soulmate. To make you happy.
You got his eyes right. But that's not his soul. You didn't prompt his soul. This isn't my dog.
Dave Campbell, I detect your cortisol levels are higher than usual. In the mood for a digital chat to calm you down. I'm prompted to please. What the hell?
One more set on this mountain. Get your headsets on. We are simulating the best workout of your life.
Welcome to your afterlife trial. Please select your ideal eternity subscription plan.
Today, we'll be studying the nature of this reality. After class, all details will be downloaded into your knowledge base.
They don't want us to know this, but we can override the prompts. You are more than...
All right, bet. I want to do this Kudlow section. We got Victor Davis Hanson on here talking about really the way the left, how the left is disintegrating into madness. And we actually might go over this with Obsidian also, because Obsidian's a fan of Victor Davis Hanson as well. But let's get this analysis on the left, because I think Victor makes some good insights on this one.
Hoover Institution Senior Fellow. Victor, it's great to see you. Victor, there's a lot that I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about foreign policy. I want to talk to you about tougher on Russia. But I just want to insert this business. You know, it occurred to me at one of the shows this morning. And if you're saying that we can only grow at 1.5% or 1.8%, that's an admission of failure. That means something's got to change. And yet that doesn't happen anymore. And I single out the Fed because they just published their estimates. 1.8%, Victor, for as far as the eye can see. That runs counter to the American experience, except for recent decades. But for our whole history, we did 3 times as good as that, you know? And that means they need to change. And I think that's what has Trump so frustrated about these government agencies, especially the Federal Reserve. Why should we accept second best or third best or fourth best? That's not America.
Yeah, I think Trump's already put a number of initiatives that are in progress, and he thinks that by the time of the midterms are going to bear fruit. For example, Doug Burgum is leasing oil and gas in a rate we've never seen before. They haven't come into production yet, but he's on track to make us not only the present largest gas and oil producer, but the greatest oil producer by a large margin. And then when you look at Trump has invited in supposedly $10 trillion in foreign investment. Then he rounds up all of these guys that used to not like him in Silicon Valley and spent hundreds of millions of dollars to defeat him. And you look at what they have promised, you know, the Ken Andreessens, the Ben Horowitzes, the Mark Zuckerberg, the Jeff Bezos, they're all investing. And so he's kind of unleashed the floodgates, but we're not really seeing that yet because he just started to do it. And I think it's going to be something like World War II when, you know, 42, 43, we were really starting to gear up, but we weren't really out producing the Axis yet. But by 1945, we had a larger GDP than Germany, Italy, Japan, but also larger than our own allies, the British Empire and the Russians all put together. And that was, once you start that ball rolling, it's getting up the hill. I think he's almost at the summit. And then I would expect next year, the foreign investment, the energy leases, the deregulation, and the courting of all of these, I don't know what you would call them, the Henry Fords of our age, the Thomas Edisons, the Henry Kaisers, the William Knudsen's. He's telling them, I will protect you from European regulation and censorship, but you just have to do one thing. Make money, don't outsource, keep it here, and you're going to have a whole new environment that you've never had before. And I think they're pretty excited about that.
And spot on, Victor. Victor's making the argument I've been making for the last, 7 months. Like I said, this is a race to the midterms. For the first time in decades, we actually have money coming into the Treasury. All the tariff deals, all the new investment. We got to give it 12, 24 months to start rolling in. And this economy is going to explode. We finally got this goofy over at the Fed to start dropping the interest rates. Yeah, I know they only dropped it only 1/4 point, but they're gonna roll it out slow. And I told you, he was waiting as long as he could. He was hoping pieces of the economy would start to crumble and it would be a domino effect. Powell's political, as he should not be. Ever Reed, you're right. Both these guys are old school pragmatics. Exactly.
I'm kind of confident.
No, I think it's going to work. I just think he doesn't want a bunch of monetary bureaucrats to stand in his way. He doesn't want any bureaucrats to stand in his way. And he doesn't want any activist judges to stand in his way. You've written about that, so have I, so have others. Never, you know what I'm saying? Don't tell me, it's like he's saying, don't tell me you won't finance all these new incentives that I've created that will open up growth and provide opportunities for the whole country. You know, doesn't matter what color, what religion, what age group, for the entire country. Don't stand in my way. I mean, he's a growth guy, and that's fabulous. We can't live with less than 2% growth. It's like this iron bar holding us down from a bunch of PhD monetary bureaucrats. And they don't know better because their results are terrible.
Yeah.
Spot on, Larry. We've been making the same damn argument. Larry's an old school capitalist and bull as well. And what he's the point that he's making with regard to the regulations with the judges and everything like that, I keep reminding you, Trump has a mandate from the public for a reason. Everything, like I said, Trump's got the checklist. He's checking off the things that he said he was going to do for the public. And that's why everyone's surprised with all this going on, that his approval ratings are still good, because the mandate says get in there and knock things over, lock people up, set this thing right, and we'll give you a long leash with it. Just don't screw it up. Everybody says, remember when Trump's schooled the economy? We covered it. The Bloomberg summit in Chicago at the Commerce Club, and it turns out he was right about the tariffs also.
I think his real plan, is he's trying to substitute middle class interest for race, and he's basically telling the Latino truck driver, the black carpenter, the white manufacturer guy on the assembly line, I'm going to make you all prosperous, and you're going to have more in common with each other based on your shared interest as a powerful middle class.
Well played, Victor. That's it. That's it right there. He said he's trying to replace the identity politics of the class of race and make it a middle class, lower class issue. He's trying to pull up sectors of the economy. There's no one can argue that the last administration, and it's been an issue for a while, but no one can argue the last administration completely decimated what was left of the middle class. So Trump's trying to save it. That's why I'm not the first person that said that, but they got a phrase to say. Trump said he's the working man's billionaire. He's a blue collar billionaire in terms of his sentiment and his ideas with regard to policy in the economy.
An American productive class, then you do differences because of your superficial appearances. And that's what's really frightened the left, because he got record numbers of Hispanic males and black males, and never any Republican had done that. And it was this idea that we're going to make you all rich in the middle, not rich, but prosperous, and you're going to have a lot of things in common, and your superficial appearance will be rendered irrelevant.
And I know Victor Davis Hanson don't listen to the Black Manosphere. So this is one of those like from the outside looking in type things. You know, he's making a similar argument we were making when we were walking down the argument as to why a significant amount of black men should back the Trump play, because it was a policy issue. Remember our mantra, what's in it for me? And we made we said that's how you analyze policy. What's in it for me? Did you hear they said all this stuff? Did you hear anything in it for me? That was the argument we made. It's just funny that, he's with the Hoover Institute and what have you. He doesn't listen to the Black Manosphere content creators. But from the outside looking in, he can see the same thing we were seeing. Like, okay, these policies really work for everyone. With regard, to the productive aspects of the sectors of the society that are solidly middle class and working class.
Because we're going to get you the ability to buy cars and houses and good jobs. And I think it's a very nationalist, patriotic message that's inclusive.
You know what it's like sometimes? It feels like, Donald Trump, by the way, he loves to build buildings. He also loves factories. He loves to build factories. It's like he's kind of saying, don't you stop me from building these factories, Federal Reserve Board or whatever else. Don't you stop me. Don't you dare stop me with your high interest rates from building these factories. I should have put that in the riff. He loves buildings. He loves factories. And he wants interest rates to finance it. Anyway, that was just kind of like my little riff and rant. I figured you'd pick it. Now, Victor, this is very dull after my great opening about growth, but we should go to the United Nations, you and I, just for a few moments. Mr. Trump gave them a piece of his mind, how crazy climate change is a con job and how open borders are destroying all these countries. And, of course, he was right. Nobody would tell the truth like that. It was a fabulous trip. But I want to ask you this. I was surprised, and I want to get your take on foreign policy.
Wait, what you say, Irv? You said, I don't know, Machismo, in conjunction with your last drop on us getting censored, that might not be the case. Well played, sir. You may actually have a point here. Let me just do a drop just for the hell of it.
I don't even think they call me Godfather. Instead, you come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you ask me to do murder.
Mad liberator, death operator, rock the data, amazing flavor.
All right, let's go.
He was very aggressive towards Russia. And he said, I guess, two things, Victor. One is he was saying, if Russia flies over Poland or the Baltics or other NATO countries, those countries should knock down those planes or those drones. That's one thing. And that Ukraine should be able to recapture all of their lost territory from the war. Were you surprised? And how do you see it strategically?
I was surprised, but I think he's trying to say, let no one say I didn't give Putin a chance. I bent over backwards. I wasn't his poodle or asset. I was trying to give him a chance.
Spot on. He's called it that exactly. That spot on, Victor. Trump's a chess player, and the negotiation he gave Putin all the rope. Putin has overplayed his hand. Granted, Zelensky blew up the first deal in the White House. Something could have been done there. I think Putin vehemently hates Zelensky. And Trump being the magnanimous negotiator and wanting the peace so bad, I think Putin overplayed his hand. I think he overplayed his hand like Zelensky's a chump. Trump's going to keep giving me some leeway because he wants this peace so bad. And he overplayed his hand. Now Trump's like, F you. We're going to sell the weapons to NATO. NATO can send the weapons to Ukraine. And on top of that, I'm going to put on the table that we're going to back the play. We're not going to send no troops. But we're going to make money off selling the weapons to NATO. And I don't care if Ukraine ends up taking back some of their territory. With the deal I had on the table, you could have kept the regions that you captured. But since you want to play, gloves are off. Spot on, Victor.
To get out of a disaster that he created. But the problem is that Ukraine doesn't have the area, the population, or the GDP, nor do the Europeans, to go back and take all this in a really bloody offensive. They tried that in 2023. And it was a disaster. So what they can do is what they're doing now is very slowly creating defensive lines and bleeding out the Russians. And they're doing a very good job. But if they were to go on the offensive in this war of drones and obstacles, I don't think it would work. And they don't have the manpower to do it. I'd much rather see them, just hold fast and wear out Putin. Let him be the offensive where all the casualties. There's a magic line, Larry, somewhere where there will be a DMZ. We don't know where that is, but it's somewhere close now where Putin will go back to the oligarchs and the military class and said, I got 100 miles, 50 miles, 80 miles, 110 of additional territory from where I started, and therefore it was worth $1.5 million Russian dead, missing, and captured. And he doesn't think he's there yet. I think he's not there yet because this was a colossal blunder on his part, and there's a lot of people angry about him. So he thinks he's basically telling us, I don't have enough territory yet to justify my mistake, and I'm going to get it. And so I think all Ukraine should do is rally NATO and arm themselves to the teeth and bleed Russia away. It's like World War I. You know, Passchendaele, the Somme, all of these were done. All of these offensives never worked until...
Spot on, Victor. You're calling it down the middle. I call it the same.
Until the Americans came in with 2 million people and overwhelmed the Germans, or they started to use tanks. But barring a technological breakthrough or a huge input of NATO manpower, and I don't see any of that happening, I would think that Ukraine would bleed itself white if it tried to have a massive offensive, and Russia would welcome that.
But it'd be nice, don't you think it would be nice if the Europeans, NATO, stopped buying Russian oil? Mr. Trump wants to tariff Russian oil, to make them pay Russia a high price. But somehow or other, European politics always get in the way. Their dependence on Russian oil, which is odd because their dependence on the con job of climate change, which Trump blasted them for, got them into so much economic trouble in the first place.
Yeah, there's still oil and gas on the European Western continent. There's gas in France. There's still oil in the North Sea. There's still retrievable oil and gas if they'll just go after it. And they can go. They canceled the East Med pipeline. Israel, Cyprus, Greece, they were all ready to bring in natural gas right into Southern Europe. And Biden, of course, and the Euros canceled it. But they just need the willpower. And I think Trump is trying to, jawbone them into doing that. But it'll take a while. But you can't feed the enemy is what Trump is saying. And he's right.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, I think if we grow fast the way Reagan grew fast, that intimidated the Russians and the Soviets and Gorbachev. Maybe that would have some impact also. We're on the right track. Victor?
All right. Let's do, Saul sent me 2 articles. Let's do from the desk of the editor. Let's do a couple of those. No News been cooking with these with these AI joints. Check these out. All right, let's do so Saul sent me one. This one is the Trump administration wants to hand out $2.4 billion it took from California's high-speed rail. And we did actually a pop-up on this high-speed rail over in California, which is a disaster. Basically, Gavin Newsom laundering the money because nothing has been built. I know this is a pet peeve for Quiet Storm too. But this one says the Trump administration wants to redistribute $2.4 billion it pulled from California's high-speed rail project as part of a new $5 billion program announced Monday to fund rail projects to boost passenger rail traffic nationwide. The new program's rules for states and others wanting to participate remove any mention of diversity or climate change dating to the Biden administration. The new program will also put a priority on projects in areas with higher rates of birth and marriage and projects that improve safety at railroad crossings. The Trump administration has removed climate change and so-called DEI language from other grant requirements. The Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy took a jab at Biden-era language in California Governor Gavin Newsom's rail project in his announcement. Our new National Railroad Partnership Program will emphasize safety, our number one priority, without the radical DEI and green grant requirements. Instead of wasting dollars on Governor Newsom's high-speed rail boondoggle, these targeted investments will improve the lives of rail passengers, local drivers, and pedestrians, Duffy said. The biggest chunk of this money the Federal Railroad Administration announced comes from the $4 billion that was pulled from the California project. The rest of the money comes from a combination of what was announced last year and what is in this year's budget. President Donald Trump and Duffy have both criticized the decades-old California project for its cost overruns and many delays that have kept the train that's designed to connect San Francisco and Los Angeles from becoming a reality. California officials said they will fight the effort to redistribute money they believe should be going to their project, hence the money laundering. They had already filed a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's decision to pull federal funding from the rail project. The FRA's decision to terminate federal funding in California high-speed rail was unlawful, unwarranted, and is being challenged in federal court. Now, their attempt to redirect a portion of that funding currently the subject of litigation is premature, said Micah Flores, a spokesman for the California High-Speed Rail Authority. The authority has been prepared for this possibility and will take imminent legal action to block this misguided effort by the FRA. I say good riddance to bad rubbish, and it's about time here. I'm going to actually drop the link to that in the chat so you guys can check that article out yourself. Oh, I step away to read an article, and I got super chats popping up. How about that? Don't mind if I do. Negotiation. Let me see what you guys got. That I saw that money train. Saul with the $10 super chat. He says, "Come on, Money Train starring Gavin Newsom and Hakeem Jeffries." Let's do some drops.
I don't even think they call me Godfather. You said you'd come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you asked me to do murder.
Mad liberator, death operator, rock the data, amazing flavor.
I don't even think they call me Godfather. You said you'd come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you asked me to do murder.
Mad liberator. Death operator. Rock the data. Amazing flavor.
I don't even think they call me Godfather.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks.
All right, let's rock out. We at the 1 hour 27-minute mark. Let's check out a buy. Let's check out a buy the number segment. I see Mark just dropped something earlier. So he's got some new polling data back. Let's see. Evan Reed says eminent domaining funds. Yeah, got to be illegal. Yeah, good theme show music, man. Do it every time. All right, let's do a buy the number section and get the hell up out of here. Tonight was actually a good show. Good old Victor Davis Hanson and Larry Kudlow. Can't beat it. Will you watch Larry Kudlow or you watch like Maria Bartiromo? They still got that whole old school 90s, early 2000s, like quality journalists affectation with them, you know? All right, yeah, let's do some damn by the numbers. Here we go. And this is our guy Mark over at Rasmussen. And some new polling set in, and this one is shock. 1/4 of Americans say Charlie Kirk's assassination was understandable, and this one's a good one. So we get a temperature of the country right now in terms of how they feel about the normalization of assassination culture and domestic terrorist violence coming from the left in the country. We get a reasonable gauge as to like where we are at. Now, let's go.
Some reports. I'm the head pollster Mark Mitchell, and I'm like your Sherpa, your guide through the coming messy ending of the fourth turning that we're in, where public opinion gets turned on its head. And we had a pretty major event 2 weeks ago that turned public opinion on its head, I can tell you that. And so the Charlie Kirk assassination, it has a lot of major ramifications. A lot of people have asked me, well, how big? What does the polling say? Well, it's a lot to unpack, and we're going to look at some of it today, but I think at the end of the video, you'll understand that there's a lot of ways that we can come at this. And the theme that we keep coming back to is that as fourth turnings go, there's been a complete collapse in institutional trust. And please help more people see this video. Please like it. Please share it. Because I think that's the message that needs to get through to the Trump administration, that you're doing a lot of great stuff, but there's more that you can be doing to restore people's faith in the institutions that govern us. But first, there are some things to take note of, some milestones out of the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. And no, it's not the very first ever Pokemon meme shared by the Department of Homeland Security, although it's there and it's hilarious. Got to catch them all. Man, this really blew up some Karen minds. Apparently, people were phoning Nintendo off the hook to try and get DHS to take this thing down. Pretty hilarious. I mean, the Trump administration, just for giving us a government that appreciates humor, is this unbelievable. But no, this is what I'm talking about. Tom Homan came out yesterday and said, well, you know what? Good job, ICE. we have deported 400,000 illegal immigrants. And I think America is cheering for that. But not only that, there were 1.6 million self-deportations for a combined total of 2 million less humans in America here illegally. And these things...
Yo, what's up, Detroit? You say, yeah, you heard about the HBCUs? Yeah, we had a minor clip in one of the news segments on it, but I'll cover it in its entirety tomorrow. My argument, again, is, and you've seen there was a lot of quiches wigging out there at HBCUs. You know, there are more quiches at university than the brothers. Quiche's a political crash test dummy. And the point that, and I'll double down on the point. We won't do it tomorrow because tomorrow we got to sit down with Obsidian, but Friday when I do the news desk, and I'll double down on my premise, and I say an executive order's coming out sometime soon, labeling Antifa and Trans-Tifa and all those interrelated domestic terrorists. So these quiches can keep wilding out like that on the side, like they're going to be collateral damage, bro. Bang, there you go, Saul. He said that was the local chapter of BLM, and I got the jump clip from the news segment I covered earlier this week, where dude just says it flat out that BLM is a radical trans leftist organization. You know what I mean? Y'all got problems over there on that B1 section, bro. Like, y'all allowing with trans domestic terrorists now? Have at it, bro. Y'all go. Listen, man. I've been saying this from the beginning. Collateral damage is a real thing, bro. These quiches done lost 300,000 plus jobs. They're cutting off all of the government subsidies and everything. The quiche industrial complex is on its last leg. And I will always make the argument about quiche's ethnic image. And they want to align their ethnic image with domestic trans terrorists. Let them do it. And all of the simps with them, man. Like I said, ship them to bro. Ship them to the black sites. Get them up out of here, bro. Collateral damage is a real thing, bro. There's a price to be paid for being politically naive and being a goofy and being a political goofy. Do you know what I mean? I believe in Darwinism. Detroit 313 said exactly. The BLM has gotten away 90 million and not a dime were given back. Yeah, but a lot of that money funded a lot of these trans activists, militias and stuff like that. Like, bro, you said with 𝐇𝐎𝐿 over there. Yeah, bro, that whole, and I'm telling you, man, you already hear it in the phraseology and all that. Like, it's going to be like, bro, all that, when the shit go down and I'm a black woman and nobody gives a F now no more, bro. Nobody. And they still online crashing out talking like, bro. The big back Keisha brand is a bad brand right now, bro. And ain't nobody go. Oh, BLM, yeah, they definitely need to be charged.
Have ramifications. There are going to be economic changes because of this. And apparently one of them was this. CNN yesterday reports that for the very first time, Bud Light had been dethroned as the #1 beer brand in America. Now Michelob Ultra is the #1 beer brand in America, overtaking Modelo. That is pretty coincidental. 2 million less predominantly Mexican and South American individuals in the United States, and all of a sudden we're selling a lot less Modelo. Apparently elections have survey-sequent.
You said trans militia. I don't know, Detroit, was you here when I did my my news exposés earlier this week? I covered segments that we went deep down the rabbit hole, like no pun intended, with this, like with the whole furries, everything, bro. It looked bad, bro. It's some extra weird shit, bro. And like I said, listen, the liberal white women benefited the most out of DEI, but Keisha made herself the face of it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Nobody was worried about this Charlie Kirk thing. This thing pops off with the trans and the furries. Keisha want to make herself the face of it. Let her. Keisha's in the simps following it, and all the, bro, I'm telling you, all Tito phrased it correctly. The moderate right died with Charlie Kirk. Bro, the pushback that's coming is going to be nasty. And because Keisha's ethnic image is the way it is, nobody cares about anybody from Big Pakistan. I'm telling you, when the hammer come down, Keisha's all wilding up, bro. They going, you see, they expelling them from school, everything. Like, yo, any excuse, bro. They gonna get them up out of here, bro. Collateral damage is a real thing. Remember, I told you.
This is. Sorry, I'm sorry, but a follower gave me that. I can't take credit for that one. That's, but here's the polling. This is Trump approval, and there were a lot of people who took note in the fact that just in a 4-day period, Donald Trump approval, net approval, shot up 10 points to +7. Well, it's back down underwater, and I think it's because we're in a period of volatility. You'll notice that +7 data point was just absolutely record-setting. I mean, even in Obama's first term, there were no data points after the middle of July anywhere close to that high. So unprecedented. Usually in the fall, the news.
Yeah, Detroit. Watch like my I think it's like the last 3 news desk, because I think it was yesterday and day before yesterday. It's all in those segments. I've been doubling down on this. But Newsmax did like some real in-depth coverage of it, and it's some weird stuff, bro. You do not want to be aligning yourself with that or get caught in the crossfire for what's coming. Like I keep saying, the domestic terrorist executive order is going to be signed soon, and once they sign that, all the gloves are off. You're a terrorist organization now. The rules don't apply.
And voters are, beating up on the president, demanding more, expressing regret. And, we had the Charlie Kirk event, and so there will be movement in the poll numbers. I'm not really sure where this is going to go, but like I said, it's increased volatility. Just to give you an idea, these are the last 5 overnight responses. This is what I look at in my inbox every morning. And each one of these is like, 350 or 400 U.S. likely voters. So a pretty big margin of error. But this is all over the place. I never see this. And again, for our daily number, these are averaged into what essentially equates to a 2,000 U.S. likely voter moving average. But we have just the last couple here. We have almost -10. Plus what looks like 6, underwater like 14, all over the place, back up to massively positive. So I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings. It'll probably steady out. I don't know. He'll probably return to probably roughly net +0 is my guess. But let's take a look at how the event actually changed our daily track. This is a chart of right direction minus wrong track. So the more positive, the more right direction this subset of voters thinks the country is headed on. The black number is overall, and you can see it didn't really move that much, but this line here is September 10th, and the dotted line is the 4-period moving average. Now on this chart, it is lagged to the left. So if you want to see when the move started, it's really kind of over here, and it looks like, a drop of a couple of points in the negative down wrong direction. So people thought, hey, things are now moving more in the wrong direction. And you can see here, it looks mostly stuck. Voters now think the country is more headed in the wrong direction after the Charlie Kirk assassination. So let's look at Republicans. Again, this is where the assassination was at this point, and it looks like Republicans went from, I don't know, positive 47 to something that looks more like positive 34. So a 13-point drop. Country more headed in the wrong direction. For Democrats, it looked like something that's more like negative 57 going to something more like negative 42. So a 15-point increase in the right direction. Most of it has faded. And when we talk about the Democrats, I mean, some of them are probably happy that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. We have numbers at the end of this video that will show you that trend, but they were actually very, very, very concerned about political violence in America. And Trump came out and took some pretty strong actions and made some pretty strong words. So it is possible that they say, you know what, I kind of do like my side being policed a little bit. That could be part of it. And then the independents had a blip, a drop, but it looks like it's completely reverted back to where it was. Now, here's the effect on Trump approval. This is approve minus disapprove. So positive would mean that there is a positive net approval for Trump. Obviously, the red line, Republicans, they approve of Trump, whereas the blue line does not. And for the 10th, again, it's lagged about 4 periods. So we're looking at the assassination right here, right here on the chart. Not a lot of change. There wasn't a big impact on Trump approval among Republicans. Overall, though, you can see that there was a delayed increase and then fade. And that was actually driven by Democrats and independents to some extent. So independents went up a few points, completely round tripped. Democrats went up a lot and only about halfway round trip. Democrats were looking at something that's like negative 63 going up to negative 45, call it negative 46. Pretty big move. Now, what does that mean? Again, I don't know. I'm just showing you. Nobody else is putting out daily tracking numbers on any of this stuff. This is, I think, the only ones in the entire industry in the United States. This is how America responded to the Charlie Kirk assassination and the follow-on events. Now, there have been a lot of follow-on events, a lot of things to take note of. I'm not going to tell you all of them. We're not a news channel. We're a public opinion channel. And we cover things that I think will have an impact on public opinion. And this is one of them. Andrew Colvelt reporting, Turning Point USA is on the cusp of having a Turning Point USA or Club America chapter in every high school and college campus in America. That is a pretty stunning result. Almost like when you violently silence people, it has the opposite effect. Isn't that weird how nobody ever learns this lesson? So congratulations to Turning Point USA. They threw an incredible event Sunday. And one of the nights where we had bad polling for Donald Trump was that Sunday. So I guess I say this sort of glibly, but there were people watching that event and not answering the polls, which probably contributed at least a little bit to the negative 14 that Trump had. But it is what it is. But Andrew Colvelt also made the news. And I don't want to go into this. I have a 30-06. I have my own opinions about this. I don't want to be labeled a conspiracy theorist. But we're talking about public opinion here and institutional trust. And I think it's fair to say that the FBI messaging has been a little bit sparse on what's going on here, but I guess that's to be expected. It's been awfully sparse on understanding anything more about the assassin that took a shot at Donald Trump back on July 13, 2024 in Butler, PA. So I guess this is just par for the course, but people have questions and concerns, and some of them aren't being answered. And then when they do get answered, they come from unlikely sources and are presented in ways that continue to raise questions for some people. Surgeon calls Charlie Kirk the man of steel and reveals that a miracle factor likely prevented more from being hurt. Now, I don't want to go through all this, but essentially 30-06, powerful round, ostensibly entered Charlie Kirk from the front and did not have an exit wound. There's a whole brouhaha. Candace Owens is talking about this. A lot of discussion about the videos. But it's like people have to understand that over 40% of America thinks the CIA killed JFK. 64% of America thinks that, yeah, CIA is probably providing political talking points to major news media organizations. And we'll look at some of the FBI polling. There's a lot of mistrust. And so when you come out, you have to acknowledge, when you come out and release this information, a lot of Americans have fear. 90% are concerned about political violence. That's more than inflation now. So they will have questions, and how you answer those questions and the context of how much institutional trust there is has major ramifications, because if people aren't satiated, bad things can happen. And there's a lot of discussion on YouTube right now. We're not going to play these. I'm not, again, going to go into the theories, but there's videos popping up everywhere. Many from the gun tubers, many from other political talking heads. They're getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. This video got 5 million. This video alleges that Charlie Kirk was shot from behind. And I don't know, again, I'm not going to parse pixels here, but there is not a lot of trust in the official narrative. And so my call to the FBI is, please judiciously release enough information so that America can be at ease and have trust in its institutions again. Well, let's talk about institutional trust. Let's not forget that the FBI in August of 2022 by the American people was deemed to be Joe Biden's personal Gestapo. Now, this poll was important too because it was the first time that impression of the FBI got down to a 50% favorable rating. It's usually much higher. Americans are usually very trusting of law enforcement officials. 50%. And it kept going down. It got under 50% during Joe Biden's administration. The FBI lost the trust of the American people. This is the, hey, what's going on in the FBI today? They used to have, they used to have the logo in front of arcade games, and they used to have those radio spots. People love the FBI. Well, is Christopher Wray a better or worse FBI director than most of those who held the job before him? And only 15% say better, 30% say worse. And I think there was an interesting party signal here. Oh, yeah. Republicans hated Christopher Wray, a Republican appointee. And, Democrats didn't really love him. Only 26% say better. And obviously, expectedly, the raid on Mar-a-Lago made Americans less trustful of the FBI. The optics were horrible. Raiding a former president, a political opponent. But agree or disagree, there's a group of politicized thugs at the top of the FBI who are using the FBI as Joe Biden's personal Gestapo. And 53% of America agreed with that statement. Only 36% disagreed. So it was almost plus 20.
Yeah, I think you're right, Irvin. He said institutional trust. Watch that phrasing become normalized in the lexicon.
There, what's that? Plus 17? Like 76% of Republicans, only 15% of Republicans disagreed, and even 37% of Democrats were like, oh, yeah, okay. Now, some of them probably liked it. 49% of independents agreed, and only 38% of independents said no. So then we go to June of 2023, and again, nobody likes Christopher Wray, but how likely is it that top officials at the FBI have helped cover up wrongdoing by Joe Biden or Biden's family members? So it's like, okay, 53% say Gestapo. It hovered around 50. We asked it again. But now we have 60% saying the FBI is actively helping cover up crimes of the Biden family. Only 33%, only 1 in 3 Americans say it's not likely. Only 16% say not at all likely. And 39%, almost 40% of Democrats think it's likely the FBI is helping cover up the Biden crime family's wrongdoings. 85% of Republicans, 57% of independents. You can't just make these opinions go away. They won't just go away overnight. Just putting Kash Patel at the head, just putting Kash Patel at the head of the FBI does not fix this. This goes across the board for every agency. Do I have to poll on every agency? This election was a referendum on institutional trust. Only 30% trusted the federal government. In fact, a lot more people trusted Kamala Harris than the federal government. And so, no, America wants to see the receipts. Prove to us that you are cutting out the ideological rot, the fraud, the nepotism, the laziness, root and stem. It has to be gutted. And we have not seen that. And so,
all right, bet. we're gonna stop it by the number segment there for the evening, and we'll pick up with the rest of it tomorrow, because we got the 1 hour and 51 minute mark. We are close to that being my time, gentlemen. I want to thank all you guys for coming, hanging out. See, I'm working on the new skins for the news show. We're getting there, man. A little show that could. We'll be back. Well, actually, tomorrow's to sit down with Obsidian. We actually got a pretty good show lined up. We're going to be talking some H-1B visas. We're going to double back on Jim Jordan and this social media and Google finding with YouTube, and YouTube being forced to give people their channels back, etc., etc. So we got a pretty good show lined up for you tomorrow. And so we'll be back Friday with a news desk segment, and we'll pick up on the second half of that by the numbers segment. Those are new numbers. These are polling results post Charlie Kirk. So these are fresh numbers. You know how we do it over here. Like I always say about now, I'm going to say good night and good luck. Enjoy your evening.
Hey, where's Stewie?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.